You wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Now I done heard a lot of music in my time, from barrel house blues to gospel moans, from chain gang chants to highbrow symphonies. But let me tell you something, sugar. Music don't always come from people. Sometimes music come through them. Tonight, on Requiem Radio, we're gonna tune our ears to a sound that don't belong on this side of the veil. It's the story of a man who played like a god but paid like a fool. He had the fastest fingers to ever play, and a violin that never cooled after hellfire touched it. You listening? Good. 'Cause this one's called the Devil's Violin. Pull up close now. And don't be scared if those strings start humming on their own. It just means it heard you.
They say Niccolo Paganini played like a man possessed. No, not possessed. Owned. His fingers moved so fast they blurred. His bow struck the strings like lightning. And the sound was not music, no. It was madness. The kind of sound that makes your teeth ache and your skin crawl. The kind of sound that makes the backs of your eyeballs itch. The kind of sound that makes you weep without knowing why. People said it was genius, virtuosity. But I know better, because I saw him play. And I saw the violin, and Paganini never stopped playing. The violin was black, not ebony, but something. Burned, charred wood that shimmered red in the light. He never tuned it, it didn't need tuning, it obeyed. He never smiled when he played, his face would go blank, pale and hollow like the music was pulling him apart from the inside. You want to know where it came from? He told me once. He was drunk and half laughing, but his eyes weren't laughing. The story begins in Genoa, Italy. The year was 1801. Paganini was just 18, a violin prodigy with a gambler's appetite and a dangerous thirst for greatness. He was broke and hungry. One night, deep in winter, he vanished into the hills beyond the city. He claimed he was searching for inspiration, but others whispered he was following voices, and there, in the dead of night, he found a crossroads. No wind, no stars, just silence and a man. But what Paganini described to me was not human. It was a shadow that wore the shape of a man, tall, still as stone, no face, no breath, dressed in black, and in his pale hands he held a violin blackened like burnt wood. Its strings shimmered like silver spider webs in firelight. The man never spoke. He stood stock still and just held it out. And Paganini, foolish, brilliant Paganini, took it. From that moment, his music changed. It became unnatural, it didn't sound composed, it sounded summoned, notes that scratched at the inside of your skull, melodies that made your teeth grind and your throat close. He played pieces no one had written, claimed they came to him in dreams or dripped like rot from the walls of his room. His hands flew over the strings like spiders on fire. Audiences wept and screamed. Some claimed they saw smoke rise from his violin. Others swore they saw cloven hooves behind the curtain. He traveled across Europe like a cursed king. In Vienna, a string snapped mid-performance, and the sound that escaped his violin wasn't a note, it was a scream. Human, raw, terrified. A woman in the front row dropped dead. Heart failure, they said, but I saw her face before she fell. She heard something none of us were supposed to hear. But Paganini never stopped playing. Musicians who tried to play like him disappeared. One found his bow split down the center, soaked in something black and sticky. Another found frozen in a death scream, staring, fingers curled like claws. But Paganini never stopped playing. When Paganini died in 1840, the church refused him a Christian burial. They called him unholy. His body was moved, buried in secret, as if no one wanted to speak of it aloud, or perhaps not buried at all. But the violin, it wasn't buried. It wasn't done. It never stopped playing. Almost a century later, in 1934, a collector in Milan opened a violin case purchased from a forgotten estate. Inside was a blackened instrument, warm to the touch. Humming, the collector played the violin once, just once. His neighbors heard screaming. He was found 3 days later, fingers burned to the bone, eyes wide, mouth open in a scream that had no voice left. Where was the violin? Gone. People say it still turns up, just for a moment. Pawn shops, dusty old theaters, forgotten attics filled with dust and regret. It's always the same. One person plays it, and then vanishes. So if you ever see a violin that seems to call to you, one that hums before you even draw the bow, and one that is too warm to the touch, don't pick it up, don't! Unless you're ready to give something back, because Paganini may be long dead, but the deal is still alive. The devil never forgets a signature, and that violin never stopped playing!
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was the devil's violin. Those Italians get kinda emotional, don't they? Some say Paganini's still out there, fiddling away in the shadows, waiting for someone to pick up where he left off. Others say that black violin just shows up from time to time, humming for blood and fame. But me? I say if you ever hear a fiddle crying when nobody's playing, don't go looking, don't go listening. And sure as sin, don't lay your hands on it. Any song that comes from the devil only ends one way. Ain't gonna be no more tonight. Y'all rest easy. And don't let the dark drive you home.